Welcome. My name is Kagole Motloti, and today on the hot seat, I am joined by Dr. Isabel Schmidt, who is the Chief Director for Social Statistics at Statistics South Africa. Thank you so much for joining us today. My first question is, what is the importance of Education Series Volume 3?
We recently completed an in-depth analysis of various sources that measure statistics related to education. We specifically look at the Community Survey 2016 data and then other household surveys that are being conducted. And we focus on three main areas. We focused on education, access to education, educational attainment, as well as the progression of learners compared to their parents through the educational system.
Yes. Now, I just want to know, does this report provide information on the progress made in achieving the targets in the National Development Program as well as the Sustainable Development Goals?
Yes, I think it provides information towards assessing how far we are in terms of achieving these. Both the National Development Program as well as the Sustainable Development Goals include indicators related to access to education as well as the quality of education.
Yes.
What we found in this report is actually that, yes, we've made a lot of improvement in terms of access to education since 1994. However, in relation to quality, progression through the education system and dropout rates, there's still a lot of room for improvement. The two provinces where we find that learners tend to be much older for the expected age for grade is Limpopo and Eastern Cape.
Okay. Now, the report looks at information from 1996, 2001 and 2011 censuses, as well as the 2016 community survey. What did you notice about the progression rates of learners and the length of schooling?
Yes. We noted that on average, white and Indian pupils spend about 12 years in school, and African and colored children around 10 years.
Yes.
However, it's important to link this to the previous statement, which was talking about dropout rates and also children staying in school when they're much older for their grade to be expected.
Yes.
So on average, children will leave school early, African children, earlier than the other population groups, but also there's a tendency amongst them to stay longer because they are repeating grades.
Okay. Now, the report looked at the fields of tertiary enrollment and attainment. What were the most popular fields and a short profile of learners enrolled at tertiary institutions?
In relation to attainment, we found that the most popular fields of study was education, followed by business economics and management, and then thirdly by health sciences and engineering. We generally also saw a pattern where older people tended to have more qualifications in the line of social science, education, etc., whereas the youth were more likely to be engaged in engineering and subjects like that than the older generation.
Okay. Another interesting area that the report looked at was the education level of parents and its influence on their children's attendance of tertiary institutions. Can you take us through through what the report says?
Yes, the report actually devoted a whole chapter on intergenerational mobility, and the findings are really quite interesting. It shows that in terms of upper secondary completion, around 70% of students who completed upper secondary had a better level of education than their parents.
Okay.
And in the case of tertiary, amongst Africans, 76% of those students who have attained tertiary education had a better level of education than their parents. So we notice significant progression through the education system in terms of the next generation being better educated than the previous one. However, we still see very clear racial lines and divisions, pointing perhaps to the possible existence still of the structural factors that caused those patterns to emerge in the first place.
Yes.
And I think our history is the main structural factor here. What we see is a very clear indication that if your parents had a tertiary education, you have a very good chance of also having a tertiary education. And within that context, if you were advantaged 20 years ago, that state of being advantaged just continued.
Yes.
And whereas if you start with a poor background, maybe parents with poor educational status, you are disadvantaged in the sense that you don't receive assistance at home after school, possibly to assist you with your homework and to assist you with your progression through the education system. And therefore, we think that where the policy should focus would really be on looking at how we can help the poorer students who come from households where the parents may not have a lot of education and where the circumstances are not very conducive to learn.
Okay. Thank you for joining us on the hot seat today, Doctor. For more information, please visit our website on www.statsa.gov.za or follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and join our YouTube channel.